America, my name is Osei-Frimpong, and you're watching The Black Athenians, brought to you at Broderick Flanagan's studio in the Iron Triangle Plaza in Athens, Georgia. So we talk about local politics, but we do so in a way that will help you understand your political predicament wherever you are, as long as there are poor black people adjacent to middle class and upper class white people, which is a lot of places in which there are black people.
Can we list the places where that's not the case?
I was about to say that'd be harder because I was just thinking Columbia, New Haven, like all over the United States. You find this, like Oakland, from Oakland, all the places in the.
Are we still in Oakland?
I don't know if we're still in Oakland. That's a good question. I mean, I got some no black people are moving into Oakland. Maybe some Africans, but, I don't think any black people are moving into Oakland. So like, there's some legacy black people in Oakland who are like holding on with both hands. But pretty much anyway, I'm doing local politics in a way. But there's a way. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about. There's a very interesting race for state rep in Berkeley, Richmond, and Oakland, and a bit of Oakland. And there's this woman. It's a very interesting race, so that might be an interesting part of that's an interesting bit of black politics because I think it's Richmond Progressive Alliance. It's some variety of those names. They're actually doing really good work in Richmond, California. And these kind of progressive groups either forget black people or have a hard time with black. This one in Richmond's actually doing the good work both politically on criminal justice front and I think economic front. So like, there's only the group in Jackson. Progressive Jackson, I can't remember what it's called, Chokwe Lumumba's group, and then the Richmond Progressive Alliance, and then maybe one or two groups in Chicago that are actually doing this well, which means you have black people talking good politics. So that's interesting in Oakland. But Chokwe Lumumba's group. But what we're going to talk about in this section is going to be Athens politics, but also kind of like how we think about politics, because there's a lot of racial fatalism in your Democratic Party. And you know there's racial fatalism in your Democratic Party when anybody tells you you're not allowed to talk about black people issues. So if you're not allowed to talk about black people issues, that means black people will always be in the situation they're in. Or we have to try to help them on the sly. If you're not allowed to talk about your issues, if you're allowed to talk about LGBTQ issues, you're allowed to talk about immigration issues, you can't talk about black people issues unless we're talking about a little bit of incarceration. You can talk about a little bit of incarceration, that's fine. But not like jobs. So we won't put you, we can talk about maybe we shouldn't be in as many cages, but you can't talk about black people having good jobs without somehow making people nervous. And if that's the case, you really do think that black people will always be poor because you're not serious about making us whole and making black communities whole, because you can only make black communities whole if we talk about black people working good jobs at fair wages, preferably unionized. If we're not allowed to talk about that, if you don't have Stacey Abrams talking about that, if you don't have Andrew Gilliam talking about that, or they can only talk about it in secret rooms, and Andrew Gilliam, if he talks about it, he will talk about it like this in his very perfected tone, calibrated to make white people comfortable. I know that because I too have been around white people for a lot of part of my life. For example, I lived by USC in Baldwin Hills. My mom was a nurse in Baldwin Hills, California. I moved out of Baldwin Hills in California to Orange County, California in 7th grade, right? So I went from Baldwin Hills. It was black. We're all Lakers fans. It's just black Baldwin Hills. Apparently that's where black money is. Not really, because remember, my mom was a nurse. When we talk about white money, we don't talk about a single white lady as a nurse. When we talk about black money, we talk about a single woman as a nurse. So that's not so if Baldwin Hills is where the black money was, I don't know what to tell you. Black money just isn't real money then.
BET had a show based there.
Yeah, I know. Apparently that's where the black money was. Yeah. But you have to understand that if you can't get into white money neighborhoods with a single nurse family. So that should tell you something. But mom moved us from Baldwin Hills to Orange County for a better life. Worried about me and my schools. So I've been around white people for a while. For example, I played in the band in Orange County and I was very good. This is me. Give me the advanced band picture. Give it full size. advanced band, I went through this. I got this from my yearbook. This is me in 8th grade. You'll notice, put it full size. Let all the people know. Because they'll be like, how? People tell me, Army, you can't talk. Excuse me. People say, Army, you can't talk about white people like that. They're scared. Look, I've been talking to and about white people for a long time. Jesus. I've been talking to like a long time. Look, I've been about that game. Nobody can tell me nothing about how to deal with white people. But I not only in the advanced band, I also played, that was the advanced band. Because, remember, I moved from LA to Orange County, and I didn't have any friends, so I practiced a lot. I got very good. I'm a very good classical musician. I'm an oboe player. But I also played saxophone in the jazz band. Give me the jazz band picture. So that's me in the jazz band. So if you're telling me I do or do not what I can and can't do around white people, look, I do what I wants. And they take it, and I've been doing it for a while. So when I tell you this is how to talk to them and why to talk to them this way, just trust that I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing it for as long as I've been breathing. All right. So there's a lot of fatalism about how, what you can do, because our problems are political, and so we need political solutions. And there's a lot of fatalism about what kind of arguments you can make to make black people whole, black communities whole at the community level. Like in a well-ordered world, my mom wouldn't have had to move out of LA to Orange County. We want to fix LA and keep black people in LA. Because this is great. Because when I went to college, my mom had to move from Orange County because it was maddening. Because it turns out it was her and all the parents of those people you saw in the pictures, and she didn't like that very much. And none of her family would visit her, and so she was just alone.
I mean, Orange County. If I'm your family member, black, I don't drive in that.
No, would you believe they wouldn't visit her? And that was a little bit stressful. So it was just her alone amongst that. So she had to move. So there's a psychic price with white flight that we're not honest about. Yes, what's up?
But we want to give everybody a chance to roll in here.
Oh, okay.
So the intro might be good.
Oh yeah, let's hit the. Hey Matthew, all right, give me the beat.
Yeah. Sound good to me. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no feature in your front.
Yeah, so by the way, those are my band uniforms. That was just a regular public school. Wasn't any fancy school. That was just a regular public school. Those are my band uniforms. So let's talk about fatalism. And pretty much, if you can't make arguments for black people, and if people are telling you that you can only advocate for black people on the sly, then they're just assuming that black people will always be poor.
I'm going to need local Democrats to listen to this story.
Yeah.
As I just left dealing with you guys. Listen.
Listen.
Shut up and listen for a minute.
Democrats are just as bad. They're just assuming that black people will always be poor. So we can talk about everything else except making black people not poor. but I think the reason black people are poor is because of terrorism, racial terrorism, and the fact that there were a lot of land grabs in the 20th century. None of them included us. There are a lot of contracts that are being doled out by institutions that should include us, but don't include us. There are a lot of white teachers who get really good jobs teaching in schools that are predominantly black, not teaching those kids how to read. If someone's not teaching black kids how to read, those jobs should be us too. We should get all the jobs. I've said it before. If Trump's going to build a wall, I want those jobs too. If there's going to be a wall built, I don't care if there's going to be a wall built. I want black people getting good contracting money to build it. I'm not pro-wall, but if there's going to be a wall, I want us to get paid for the wall.
And it's not like they listen to us anyway, so we might as well at least get the check from
Get the check for building the wall. Get some skills. So this idea of fatalism. So people talk to me. And then this fatalism is deep because there's a movie that came out called The Hate You Give. Give me a The Hate You Give. And apparently it's a very good book. And a lot of people liked the movie. I saw some black people, some bourgeois black people liked the movie, and I was like, all right, well. And then I saw a lot of white liberals like the movie, and that's when like all the alarms went off. Because when all these white liberals like the movie, it's like, hold on, wait a minute. So whatever happened at the end of this movie, like white people got to keep all their stuff. I know that for sure. Because yeah,
when white people walk out of a movie happy,
that
it's a movie about black life.
People,
guess what?
They got to keep all their stuff. Like, so I don't like, that's not a happy ending to me. I had a problem with Black Panther because it didn't end with like a power play. It neither ended with guns coming to black people, like those sonic spears, which would have been less good, but still better than an NGO or nonprofit. And it didn't end with like real political power.
And I'd like to point out that, they managed to save Agent Ross. He couldn't put a kimono bead in Killmonger. Yeah, like, nah.
Rehabilitation, nah, man.
Oh, you may be a little too right and a threat to my throne, is what Chakala was thinking.
Yeah, no, we'll save the CIA agent.
Yeah.
This whole war and save the CIA agent, because, like, that's black history. So the best thing about Black Panther is it created an entirely new Halloween costume for black youth. Because I remember when I was growing up, I had Shaft and the black guy from the Village People, which was also my Shaft outfit. So
what was the variation in that costume?
That wasn't all. I had another one time. I was Sly from Sly and the Family Stone. I spent some time in Northern California, so I could do that. And people knew me. I like. It's funny because I get people say, "Oh yeah, Sly Stone up in Northern California." Here is somebody else. I can't remember, but it's somebody very southern.
Yeah. Now, I won't.
Young James Brown. But
we know that my favorite Halloween costume for you is the uppity Negro.
The uppity. I have a T-shirt. Would you believe I have a sweatshirt that says uppity Negro? In case people forget. By the way, next week I'm telling you to remind me. Mark, I'm going to give you this information. Made some fabulous DOS hats because people need to start identifying.
I'm so glad I didn't. Yeah. Oh, I've been rocking this hat every meeting I go to. I explain to people what DOSs are.
Yeah, no, this is a great hat. DOS, Descendant of Slaves, Reparations. Because as much as I like Africans, remember my dad came from Ghana, but my mom's from South Carolina. So I've seen it from both sides. And let me tell you, this whole idea of immigrants coming up from the bottom, they come up from the side. It's a lateral move. And like it looks like a bottom because like they speak with an accent, but my dad's family owns stuff in Ghana, and like it's not the bottom. Like here, the bottom is like debt, sharecropping. No, my dad was doing all right in Ghana. His dad had 4 wives, like because he could handle that. Like that's not, and it's not American 4 wives, or you do them like in a series. It was 4 wives at the same time because it's Ghana. So up from the bottom, up from the side, like
they don't really have like responsibility to lift anyone else up from the bottom either. They just have to lift themselves up.
Yeah. My dad had like a lot of poor cousins that he left in Ghana. Whereas like if you're a descendant of a slave, your poor cousins are like next door or in your bedroom, like
in your living room. They don't get bedrooms. You don't get bedrooms. We ain't got enough bedrooms to go around. You sleep in that living room and not on the sofa because it's got plastic on it.
They're still calling for you. Yeah, that's some black stuff right there. No, but they're still calling and like they find you places and like dad left his. He picked the one brother. He's got like brothers because. He's got a lot of stepbrothers or half brothers because, 4 wives. And he picked, the best stepbrother and brought him over. So, there's a screening process. So, the idea that immigrants come up from the bottom is just, not true.
Yeah, I dealt with that, as a matter of fact, during my hospital stay, trying to explain to my hospitalist, who was Afranique, that here's all the data from the last time we experienced that. With my doctor's signature, no, you're going to stay. But that's another $10,000 a day. Let's not.
You're throwing away 5 years of my life with this hospital bill. So the idea that immigrants come from the bottom, no, they kind of come from the side. There's a language thing, but then they end up in a generation back to where they started from before. So I'd like Mark. I'm going to give you this information next week. So if you like this hat and it says reparations for DOS, I like it.
And you will repeatedly have to explain to people what a DOS is.
Descendant of slave.
I've been doing it in meetings.
I think it's important. I think it's important because it's like the economics are not the same. The economics, because you don't have, it's not just material baggage. You don't have the cultural baggage of a descendant from slave. Like my grandfather was not terrorized in Ghana.
And we were talking about that.
My grandfather on the other side, absolutely. He was terrorized in South Carolina. That matters.
And I was talking with someone about this, trying to explain that there is no other example in history of a group that has, one, been brought into another country to be used as slaves, terrorized. Like, this is a unique situation. I appreciate your feedback for, what we should be doing. But,
don't let Kwesi tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Kofi's fine, but I don't need him Zunki to tell me how to behave. That's where we are. So fatalism in our politics. There's this notion by some black respectability politics and white liberals that just black people will always be poor and broke and degraded. So we should talk about everything and everyone else, and we should just normalize black poverty. That is wrong. And instead, we should talk about black empowerment. So what do we do to educate people for black empowerment? Yes.
But irony.
Yes.
We can't get all the black people not to be poor.
I want to get 85% of them not to be poor.
But
I want our poverty rate to look like white people's poverty rate.
Is that maybe? And I'm posing these questions because they've been posed. No, because they've been posed to me about us.
Not hypothetically. No, I can hear it.
We've heard this question.
There's a quote
from black people. But irony. Maybe you live in an ivory tower and don't understand the struggle of being poor.
What I do, I know the struggle of keeping black people poor because I see white people do it all the time. They work hard to keep black. You think they want to pay those private school checks? No, they work hard to keep black people poor, and this is why I don't blame poor black people. I blame the white people I know and I went to school with because I know they make a full-time job and spend a lot of money keeping black people and making themselves stressed out because they don't even like living around other stressed out white people, and so they're all depressed. So there's an entire industry that goes into keeping black people poor, and we need to dismantle that industry. And not expect just the behavior of black people to fix that. You need to put the problems for social justice. There should be a picture. Problems for social justice. There are two of them. One of them is fixing the oppressor instead of.
Is it?
No. Is that all of them? Is that all the pictures?
Yeah.
Maybe I forgot it. It's on my Facebook. Anyway.
Someone said in the chat, "Make me not poor."
Not poor.
I mean, if Army is just giving away magically not poor, I'd like to believe I should be in a much better.
And the goal is to get this at a community level.
Yes.
Right. Not just individual come-ups. Not just individual. Oprah doesn't count. First of all, Oprah's got a lot of black money, not a lot of white. She's got a lot of white money. She's got a lot of black money. But among the white money who have a lot of white money, they're Oprah's married to other Oprahs with cousins to other Oprahs and another Oprah all sitting at the same dinner table. Whereas Oprah will sit at a dinner table and everyone around her won't have as much money.
Oh, there's a reason why she gives away presents at her birthday party.
Yeah, right? Because the people she's with don't have as much as her.
Yeah.
Whereas real people with real money, the people they're with have as much money as they are. So they there's just money floating.
I believe we have coined the phrase the Obama effect, where you are comfortable being the only black person with any sort of money or resources in a location.
Right. That's a problem. Matthew, go to my photos. I'll just do it. Send a copy to people.
No. So, I mean, I'm not even talking filthy rich. I think I say this all the time. If we all know that if Oprah woke up with I mean, if Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos woke up with Oprah money, they'd jump off a bridge.
Yeah. It's not the same level of wealth at all.
And
Not even
Oprah
close.
is our standard. The Obamas are the standard that we keep putting forward. And you're like, no, they don't really have real comeuppance money. Like, comeuppance means neighborhood support. No. None of them are doing that.
Not the same.
Oh, Oprah didn't bring even Gail to her neighborhood unless she lives in a guest house.
And you say this in the microphone. Oprah needs financing for her movies.
Yes, Oprah still needs somebody else to
She's still doing
finance her
commercials.
movies.
That's
the
difference.
I mean, she can't just decide that exactly. Oprah's wealth is not anchored to any real industry, and it doesn't have. It could go away at any minute. Should she anger the wrong white person? They own and take her name off that magazine.
Say something just a little too revolutionary.
That's actually that's true.
They own.
They buy own. Yeah, Oprah still has to worry about being bought by some white person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea that that's the standard we should be reaching for is still not a good standard. I'd like to feel safe that should a white person get angry at me, they can't buy my world.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. So this is go put it full screen. So this graphic says this is how social justice movements fail. Number 2 is very important. You try to fix the oppressed instead of the mindset of the oppressor. Black people, we're fine. We're so fine. We actually have good politics. I'll say this again. Number 2 is what we're going to talk about a little bit today. We're fine. We actually have good politics. We don't need to fix our mindset. Our mindsets are great. Like give me the stat with black guys versus white women. Black guys versus white women in terms of politics. We actually believe in the right things. Give it. Yeah, put it full screen too. So we actually believe in the right things. We're like for childcare. We're for poor relief, jobs, and we're for the right programs. So it's not us. It's just that we don't have any money. We don't have serious capital or land. And
we are made the villains of every story.
We made the villains of every story for this, for having good politics. So we got to take the fight to them. And if you're scared to take the fight to them in public, then you're not about the fight. Like, you're seriously just not about the quality of politics. We need to be made whole. So if I do anything with these podcasts, I help you deal with getting your fair share of what you need from white people, because they have all of the stuff we need. And no amount of fixing our consumer habits and not spending not getting Jordans or not getting a weave or any of that is going to stop the fact that Marcus can't stay, or Seneca can't stay in the hospital for an extra day without it wiping out a year's salary.
Yeah.
That's...
And another thing I want to point out to people is that we talk about what we do here and so forth and so on, and there are people who are like, well, but you could say it nicer. Dr. King said it nice as hell, and guess what? We're still fighting that battle.
No. Look, everybody else in America has been trying to say it nicer than I'm saying it right now. Let's try this thing for a while.
Yeah.
Let's try this thing. At least I'm not coming with guns. I'm just saying we need to be a little bit more bumptious in meetings. We need to get some of those contracts. We need to get some of those contracts. We need to get some of those good jobs. And we need to, somehow this only goes through some white women crying.
Yeah.
If you've made it all the way through this political struggle without any white women crying, you haven't moved enough money to black communities.
And let's talk about Democrats. I sat in a great Democratic meeting where the representative from the Democrat to the election board came in, and she's like, I'm leaving, but it's really important that I am replaced by a woman. Now notice, she didn't say someone, a minority. She said a woman. And we know when white women say women, They mean other white women.
They mean other white women. And they have crappy politics.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, it's not like the white women like is like icons or a symbol of great politics. No, they have crappy politics.
Yeah. And just because you can make a few white people cry in a room and write a few checks, that ain't helping the rest of us.
No. We need you pushing for like you got white women pushing for other white women who push for other white women more than they push for something like paid childcare. Like public childcare. That would be I think that's a woman's issue. I don't know. I just know that if I'm ever in any sort of power, you'll hear me talking about childcare.
Yeah.
You'll hear me talking about these things, and I don't hear white Democrats.
It's so very interesting. And
public childcare and paying childcare workers a real wage and getting them unionized.
And I'm back to the fact that I just want to start calling people Dixiecrats. So I can, instead of Democrat, like I'm going to point out Dixiecrat, the difference between a Dixiecrat and a Democrat. Right. Dixiecrats locally have spent no money with any of the black radio stations. Now the candidates have, but the party hasn't. The Republican Party is advertising on the black radio station.
So we give Democrats 90% of our votes. And I'm not saying that we should vote Republican. I'm just saying we shouldn't be giving anyone 90% of anything without asking for anything in return. I want that number to, even if Democrats lose, let's take that number down to 80%. Let's 80% and at least make them think, how do we get that number back up to 90%? Because if we just give them 90% and ask nothing in return, they're not, and if any Democrat gets in your face about how black people need to vote and to make sure the Democrat wins, I'm like, well, look, we gave you 80%. If you can't pull your 40, then I don't know, hold your own nuts. I don't know, you need.
There are two.
Take care of your own business.
The two most loyal groups to the Democratic Party are blacks and the LGBTQ community. As a gay man, let me be clear, I can vote. As a black man, I can't hold a job. I can be married. I got the Democratic community went, we gave the gays what they wanted, at least the white ones, and the black ones don't matter because we're going to get their vote from that other category. No, stop it. Stop.
Quit it.
Just stop.
Because honestly, in terms of queer problems, queer youth homelessness is 50% of urban homelessness.
Yeah.
But you don't hear the LGBT community talking about that at a large level. If you really want to do good LGBTQ politics that's actually for the people who need it the most, we need to talk about youth homelessness because that's where.
And look outside of organizations like the Human Rights Campaign, which hasn't done a damn thing.
No, they're good for the gay guys who have gym memberships.
Yes, yeah.
No, they're not for
we can get married and adopt kids. That's all we're here for.
That's all we're here for. No.
My
kid from Ethiopia, because we don't want any Negroes. No. But you have to. But honestly, a lot of these kids get kicked out of their suburban or rural town, and they move to Atlanta, or they move to DC, or they move to San Francisco, thinking that things will be better for them once they get in the city.
Oh yeah,
and there's just a lot of queer youth homeless of color.
75% of youth homelessness fall into the LGBT community. It gets worse because in order to survive, the measures that they end up going to, they end up becoming clients that we work with for HIV and things like that. But you don't see the HRC opening a single thing related to that matter.
No, and
or Democrats talking about it.
So this is what happens when you put black men in charge of politics. We start talking about these issues, and you know what? That's good. So empowerment. In terms of empowerment, one of the best local events happened. This guy, Jesse Evans, knows his job. And anybody who knows Jesse Evans, go ahead and give him a plaid on. There's a white guy, civics teacher at Cedar Shoals High School, who knows his jobs. He moved heaven and earth to get, he put it together. He willed it and pulled everyone together, including, I got a lot of heat when I supported Mariah Parker.
Oh,
I got a lot of heat supporting Mariah Parker for the county commission because she's not from Athens like Taylor Pass, the guy who she was running against. But I know. But look, I am so glad I supported Mariah Parker because she won by 13 votes, which means that the little people who watch my show, that's 13 votes worth. I think I got 13 votes with my endorsement, and also. she's been doing excellent work, including working with Jesse Evans to get these high schoolers not only into City Hall. Give me some pictures. Yeah, put them full screen.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I just got out the hospital. We can't deal with another roll
We
up.
can't do it. Run up. Got a lot of heat from the local black people who think they run things. But it turned out when the board lost, like it was better for the community. So, and I was right on that. So this is Mariah Parker and Jesse Evans put together a program that got Cedar Shoals High School, one of the local high schools, into City Hall. Not only into City Hall. Keep scrolling the picture. Give me the one with the sister on in the chair.
Oh,
The one you thought that was video?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so not only did she get them into City Hall, she got them sitting in the seats of power, literally physically on the seat of power. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see, because like it's not enough to know how to get from here to there. You need to know how to get from there to here. So you need to know what there looks like, and then work backwards to get to here, and then go forward.
And I want to because we don't give cookies out to white men very often.
No, but this guy did his job.
Not just his job. He fought his former principal. You know, the one we covered when you talked about the Atlas Shrugs.
Yeah.
Who's no longer their former principal.
Right.
I mean,
He knew like what these kids needed and what these kids
and never backed down about it, even with everybody in his administration for the longest time fighting him.
This is a bad idea. Never done anything like this. Imagine taking this is the high school. This is the stigmatized high school in town. Taking them, his leadership class, getting them down to City Hall, putting them in the mayor's seat, physically in the mayor's seat. And then these are the kind of programs we need people watching at home in your town. And also, he had the assistant city manager, which means a white guy who sits in a lot of meetings and pulls in six figures.
Hold on. Blaine has an assistant.
Well, he had this guy, this whatever guy.
Whoa! So he's not just getting $60,000. There's more money out there.
There's more money out there. You need
Matthew. We got this.
A white guy. Being a city manager, you just need to be the tallest white guy in the room. But put that picture big too. Okay. So he had the assistant city manager. This is Mariah Parker and Jesse Evans. Got the assistant city manager to come in and explain local governance and how it works. And also, this is good for them to see him, because when they see this basic white guy do this job for six figures, they think, I can be the basic white guy who does this job for six figures. And that's what you want.
Oh, I'm thinking that right now. I'm trying to figure out how to get him. We need to scream about diversity and inclusion. Matthew and I will split that salary. Broderick can be the city manager. Broderick can be the city manager.
And you two will be just fine.
Being his assistant.
We could probably do it better than he could.
Yeah.
Well, there'd be two of you. Yeah. And you would do it. Let's say he makes 120. So you guys would make 60,000 each?
Yeah, 60,000 each. We would.
You'd be an excellent co-assistant manager.
Yes, they'd actually be able to get their stuff to stream regularly with good sound quality.
This is what, and there's another, I want to end with a book by Danielle Allen. Danielle Allen, it's a book called Equality in Education. Equality in Education. It's two essays. The first essay, and then a commentary. So the first essay is, two essays, and I think the second essay is a good one. Okay. Anyway, she says, look, we will not make our communities whole by teaching STEM education. That's just not the truth about community uplift. That's just not the problem. America makes enough money. The problem isn't the total number of dollars we make. The problem is the distribution of those dollars. So we need to teach our kids how to fight for fair distribution of the wealth and the treasure America generates. That's the education. Not an education in soft skills, not an education in STEM, an education to fight for the distribution of the wealth America already generates. Because we already generate a ton of money. It's the distribution.
But irony.
Yes.
In case the audience can't tell, I'm being devil's advocate today.
Yes.
We didn't earn that money.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I'm at the UGA right now, University of Georgia. The whole campus was built by slaves. The whole campus was built by slaves.
That was in the past.
And I'm trying to, and you're telling me this city manager making $160,000 to sit in meetings and then kind of make a decision with lots of input earns that money. Like, there are so many professional white meeting goers who I don't know what to tell you. Like, this whole idea of earning money is just ridiculous once you see the way white money just
They
kind of
pulled
flows.
themselves up by their bootstraps on their own land.
Yeah, the bootstraps were us.
Yeah.
Like, we were the boots. We were the boots.
And the land was stolen from other people and given to them.
Yeah, the Homestead Act is the truth. What, some 45 million Americans still trace their wealth to the Homestead Acts? Where they were just given, white people just gave Americans Indians land. Like, that was the Homestead Act.
I believe they gave them like the tools to farm that too.
They did. They opened colleges like the University of Georgia to teach them agriculture. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. But we want special treatment? I don't remember the last university.
They got the land, the loans, and the cultural education. Like, they got the land, the money, and the cultural education.
And we're being greedy.
Yeah.
And we want too much.
And they made it up for the bootstrap. Government gave them land, money, and the cultural education. Like, that's incredible. So, and us, we're figuring everything out by ourselves.
Yeah.
So Daniel Allen's argument is that, like, we just need to teach our kids the levers of power. We need to teach them the levers of power so they can get their cut. And that is the education our kids need. So they need to be able to participate. They need to be able to speak well, but not in a way that necessarily makes white people feel comfortable, but makes white people feel productively uncomfortable. So I do not need Andrew Gillum. Like I said, next time next black statewide politician, I want them to sound like Cat Williams, because I think that's appropriate.
Hold on. Cat
Williams. Cat Williams has got a nasally voice.
I know.
And I don't want to
trying.
Got a perm.
The perm.
Yeah.
Yeah. My problem is the amount of money.
Hustling.
Cat would spend a lot of money on a perm.
You know what I mean.
I need Cat to share.
I just don't need a guy who spends so much time and so much effort making white people comfortable. And because, like, you can't make white people comfortable and fight for us at the same time. That's just not going to be the case. So, vote for Andrew Gillum. Don't vote for Andrew Gillum. He seems like a fine. I've seen him speak live a few times. He is whatever. Do not expect Andrew Gillum, even if pushed, to give us the quality of economic justice that we need.
So Mark just asked the question.
Yeah.
Who's worked harder than slaves?
Who's worked harder than slaves? Nobody's worked harder than slaves. Yeah, and it's almost like an inverse. Like, the harder you work, if you're working for your money, well, we need some of that passive income. We need some of that trust fund money. Because I need some of that, like, inheritance money. Because if you're working, like, you're not winning.
I mean, I've suggested to people. I always pose the question.
Not necessarily true, but yeah.
I always pose the question: would you give up half your wealth to black people? I pose it to people all the time. You'd be amazed at how many people are like, no. And I'm like, your wealth is net zero. This doesn't even affect you. But because you've been convinced you may be worth more than black people, you're like, I'm like, and then you go, hold on. If they get half the wealth, we're the ones shit on. I'm like, and this is the exact same technique that was used during the Civil War to get poor whites to side with Trumps.
Yeah, look, there is no. White people are gonna have to take a haircut. Like let's just be honest. If we're gonna get justice, white people are gonna take a haircut. So if you're not serious about talking about white people, about like the history and the politics of why they should take a haircut, and convincing other black people that it's okay to demand a haircut from white people for justice for everybody. We just want to be made whole, and all that money they spend getting away from black people, they can actually keep. They'll just have to, like, keep some of the other money we'll take. So like everyone to be made whole will, like, lower the Xanax rate on in those suburbs, And I don't
no, it
Clonopin.
won't.
I don't know what pills are white people. Apparently they're jeweling. I didn't know this is a thing. People, the white kids love the jewel. Apparently, it's just
isn't that the little?
It's a thing. I just found out about it 2 days ago. I was talking to my students. It's everywhere in the suburbs. Some things go from the ghetto out. Yeah. This comes from the suburbs in. Keep your kids away from jewels because like it's nicotine.
I'm about to say I thought that's what because I've seen several of them. And like people, it's interesting that people will be like, "Oh, black people's attitudes in the workforce." You try having to work 4 or 5 jobs to put food on the table.
And everyone lies. Like people don't understand, and black people aren't honest. Like everyone lies to black people, especially black boys. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. So you've been in a life where everyone's lying to you about everything. So you're not going to work too hard at anything because it all could be someone else's con. Do you understand?
And it often is.
And it often is. And the things we work hard at, the things we can control. So you'll see a lot of black people playing basketball, like the sports, things that we can actually control. Because it's not about work ethic. We work hard. It's just that everyone lies to you, so you don't know when anyone's wasting your time. Everyone lies to black people.
And school lies to us.
Lies
to
us
constantly.
You're telling a whole nation of black people they could be Obama. First of all, there's only one Obama. Like that's just like structurally, there've only been 45 presidents.
Well, I'd like
there are 20 million black men. Like they were not all like that's not.
And people will
and telling them that they can be Obama as opposed to they should fight to be like a union electrician.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about being Obama.
Yeah, I want to be an Obama.
Every black man born in this country to a father who's a descendant of slaves can't be Obama. Guess why? He doesn't descend from slaves.
He ain't a descendant from slaves.
Yeah.
So, okay, you can be Obama if your dad is an East African immigrant who was getting his PhD at Harvard and ended up with a master's degree, and your mom's, a
white woman from Hawaii,
from Kansas, and your grandma who moved to Hawaii, and you got a $500,000 inheritance from your grandma.
Yeah.
Then you can be Obama. You can be Obama. So.
And it's not about hating white people.
It's not about, I don't hate white people. Like, especially the white people who are alive today. You didn't do anything for your inherited wealth and political status. But I'm gonna need you to make whole. It's like there's a car accident that you caused by like sneezing. I don't blame you. Like you weren't like on the phone and then your favorite song comes on. Like that, no, like that would be different. You didn't do this on purpose. You sneezed and caused a car accident. I'm still gonna have to make you make this whole. Like it doesn't matter if you did it on purpose. You weren't born white. I know. Okay. So let me talk about old money real quick.
Yep.
I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and she was one of my favorite students. This white girl was very sharp. So she was one of my favorite students from like 2 years ago, and she was like, I run into these, kind of lower class white women or middle class white women who want to marry well and get into the old money scene, but they don't know that
they aren't bred for that.
Well, yeah, not only you're not bred for that, you can't work your way into old money. That's what it means to be old money. And in the South, that means something. So like there's no and the things you'll do to try are just really grimy. Just really, 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 really grimy. So
you mean the things they do?
The things that do, like really grimy. So like that's not, you can't change who your grandfather wasn't. And so there's a lot of black people, and I kind of blame Shonda Rhimes, I kind of blame Oprah. They give black people, white people dreams. And so when they talk about, look, I just want to marry a nice guy who's an anesthesiologist and live in a nice house in blank and blank county. No, somehow you think you have, what you're saying is you want to come from a white granddaddy or maybe an African, but that's not your life. So and that's not your fight. So there are a lot of people confused. And once we get honest about what our fight is, I think we can bring the whole community up. But until we get honest with that fight, then like we have the wrong aspirations. The aspirations should be like, I want everybody in all my cousins to have good jobs with $100,000 in the bank.
That'd be really awesome.
Like good jobs with $100,000 in the bank. You know, there are entire white neighborhoods with that. Like not even white neighborhoods, zip code states. Like Utah, the whole Mormon church has that.
Oh, that is.
It's just
that plus.
It's
Google the Washington D.C. Mormon Temple, and that tells you the level
just like
of opulence.
Everyone is just, and like not even opulence, just like everyone is just taken care of.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and
let me tell you about social programs in the Mormon Church.
Yeah, it's its own
any member of the Mormon Church can go to their bishop and ask for financial assistance and get it in less than 3 hours. It's not like waiting in line, and the way you repay it is community service on a Mormon farm.
On a Mormon farm that they own. Yeah. They own land. Like they own more land than black people. Like all black people. Like they own more land than that. So what this, and I read an article about like, well, you know, if black churches just did better with black money, they'd be fine. The thing is, you don't know what your little tithe doesn't mean anything compared to like a Mormon church tithe. So like, sure.
Where does someone even come up with that idea? Because I mean,
like,
black church tithes barely keep the lights on.
They don't. You go to a black church, they got holes in the roof.
Yeah,
they need new roofs. You go to a Mormon church, that's not the case.
We have a gym, a kitchen, I say we as a former Mormon.
Yeah,
a fully functioning.
Works. Yeah, everything works.
And
with no duct tape, it just works.
And you don't have to ask people to bring anything. They just voluntarily show up with 4 dishes.
Yeah, because everything works. Like that. So the idea that black people spend their money on churches and churches don't do enough for the black community, you don't know what real money being passed around looks like until you've been to like a Southern Baptist church or a Mormon church. And that's just real money. It's the equivalent of someone like, and when you think about black leaders, black church leaders, it's the equivalent of like someone like Al Sharpton and like Jerry Falwell. Right? So Al Sharpton's kind of a clown. Jerry Falwell isn't.
Jerry Falwell has an entire university.
Exactly. That's what power looks like. Right? So if you're trying to, like, T.D. Jakes is on one side and Dobson is on the other. Or who's the bishop now? I don't know who the prophet is. Oh, no. No, but you got to understand that, like, there's scale. There's Oprah and Warren Buffett. Like, these are 2 different things. So saying that, like, black celebrities could do it if they just put their money together. No, you assume black celebrities have the kind of money that, like Jeff Bezos has. That's no.
And let me tell you, if we did, we wouldn't be allowed to have it for long.
There'd
be a law.
We wouldn't know, like, what that looks like. Like, Obama doesn't even have Clinton money. Like, Eric Holder doesn't have Steve Paulson money. Like, that's just not the case.
Clarence Thomas doesn't have Brett Kavanaugh money.
Exactly. Like, Kamala Harris doesn't have Nancy Pelosi money. Nancy Pelosi's rich.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't understand. Cory Booker, as good as he has, like the white Cory Booker, like has more money.
We call him Paul Ryan.
We call him Paul Ryan. Cory Booker, I think he might be adopted or half or something.
Okay.
There's something.
I mean, even another great story about money. I recently learned this great story from, I do have a proximity to my family. Part of my family's white. Yeah. My mother decided she needed a new car because she had an accident. So she went and bought a brand new car for $18,000 cash.
Okay.
When they
Black
found
people,
out
in the chat, give it up if you have $18,000 cash in your bank account today.
And it gets
now, liquid. Because your mom, because you're telling your grandma could write the check.
She's like,
well, I got to buy a car now.
Because she didn't want her insurance rates to go up, so she just wrote the whole check straight out. She didn't even report to her insurance that she told her the previous car.
If you could do that today in the chat, give me a what's up. Today.
And to tell you the better part of the story.
Let's be honest. If she had to do it again today, after writing that last check, she could do it again.
Oh, yeah. No, it gets better. Yeah. She called them and was like, oh, I accidentally haven't transferred the money over. And they were like, oh, we'll hold it for a few days. Come get your car.
Giving away cars. Just hold it. For a little.
I'm looking
Would you
at
like to
her.
hold a nice car, black man. Black man, go hold a nice car for a little bit.
Like, I mean, I love her to death, but like when she explained to me, she's like, "Oh, they gave me like a $300 trade-in on my 2014 car, but it was really damaged." I was like, $300 and you paid $1,800 cash?
18,000.
18,000. Yeah, $18,000 cash. Yeah. You need to take me the next time you go shopping. You're not allowed to shop by yourself anymore.
And she was like a nurse, right? She was just a regular workaday.
She was a nurse who she just happened to work up until she was like 75. But she inherited.
See, like, no, you got to understand that the black nurse who's in that same position did make that money, but also was holding down like a bunch of cousins.
My Aunt Regina.
A similar position, right?
Better position.
Better position.
Former head of psych nursing for Bayview, John Hopkins.
Oh, so black baby boomer who did good, right?
Yes.
Went to Grady or whatever. Yeah.
Literally
stabilizing
13 siblings. And that's just because those are the 13 she likes.
One, see, this is where we can make $1 stretch. One black person with a job. With a good job, a career of a good job, holding down a whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like that's, I'm just saying, our power comes when you get a fair share of a cut in America. Thank you for your time. I'll see you next week. Peace.